You're listening to Healing Wisdom. Today we're speaking with Cape Cod Surftones and Neil McGarry about their upcoming performances for the holidays.
If you like the taste of a lobster stew that's served by a window with an ocean view, then you're sure to fall in love with old Cape Cod. Old Cape Cod, winding roads that seem to beckon you.
Welcome, David Anthony and Wayne Schumann. Thank you so much for being with us talking about the Cape Cod Surftones. Wayne, you're the lead singer and business manager, and David, you're the president of the Cape Cod Surftones. It's a chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society, and you're performing at Pres Hall tonight at 6 p.m. So today we'll be talking about a cappella music and also a bit about oystering. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your nonprofit.
The Cape Cod Surftones are a group that was established really in 1975 when a group of guys got together to sing some barbershop music here locally. And they didn't actually become a chartered group until 1979, but had been operating for a while. The whole idea of barbershop singing, some say it was an accident, some say it was fate, but in 1938, two men interested in a cappella singing invited 14 friends to join them on the roof of a Tulsa hotel. And 26 men actually attended, and they sang barbershop harmony all night. And at their next meeting, the journalists covered the event, and the idea caught on like wildfire. And within weeks, barbershop singing had been organized with chapters all over America and Canada. And the Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing in America was born. Everybody calls that SPEPSQUA, but terrible name. And it was renamed the Barbershop Harmony Society in 2004. And so the Surftones have been singing here on Cape since 1979, have done annual shows, and we go to a lot of different places, assisted living facilities. We have done charity events. We do Christmas caroling. We've done Christmas strolls. We've done things like that. The first public appearance was in 1978 with the March of Dimes telethon that was here, hosted locally, and it's been an opportunity to sing a cappella and sing this unique type of music. In fact, in the early 2020s, so within the past 5 years, that Barbershop Harmony Society became known for its Everyone in Harmony effort, and we now are co-ed and encourage anyone who's interested in singing to come in and sing with us in the barbershop style. And we have 3 ladies who are part of our active chorus. So that's kind of the background of who the Surftones are.
I'm an oyster wholesaler, and I sell only Wellfleet oysters. And I've actually never been in Preservation Hall. I delivered oysters to a oyster event behind Preservation Hall, but I've lived on the Cape for over 45 years and have never made it to Preservation Hall, which I know you have an amazing programs there. But main reason for me, I was motivated because I wanted my fishermen to potentially be able to hear me. They're not necessarily musicians, but I have fun with them.
How did you first come to a cappella music, to this barbershop quartet style of singing?
So I've been a member now for, I think it's 5 years. I actually sang with the Surftones back in 1985. I used to live in Orleans, and some of the members came to a band concert that I was in. And I actually first sang barbershop in my sophomore year in high school in 1981, 82 in Canada. And my dad sang barbershop. And I've been singing since I was in 3rd grade. I was in a professional choir that toured all over the world, but I just love to sing, and barbershop is just a lot of fun to sing.
Tell us, David, how did you join up and become president?
I've been singing barbershop for 11 years, actually joined just 6 months after my younger son joined. He's currently the band teacher at Nauset High School. He started singing a while back, but my wife and I met in college in singing groups, and that's when we first started dating. And I've sung in all kinds of madrigal groups and classical groups and church choirs and things like that, and just found the opportunity to sing some fun songs. And I really enjoyed the sound of barbershop harmony very much, and actually enjoy singing next to Wayne quite a bit. So.
And can you speak to what makes it so much fun compared with other kinds of singing that's accompanied by music? Like what is it about a cappella music?
There's a unique phenomenon called an overtone or an undertone. And when you get the tenor, lead, baritone, and bass, and they all sing in a proper harmonic frequency, you actually get the sound of a fifth voice that sounds like there's a fifth person singing in your group of four. And to have those chords, which we say chord ringing, is when you get that kind of a sound. And the four voices come together and they create this really unique, almost chills up the back of your spine kind of an effect. Um, it's a little bit different than classical singing or madrigals, where there's a lot more rhythm and the chords are different altogether in barbershop. But I think that's the thing that we all try to achieve, is that ringing of chords.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with the oyster community? You're a wholesale oyster buyer, dealer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I worked for another company. It started with a father started the business in 1995, and the two brothers and this other man worked on their 2 acre grant and built it up to about 1 million oysters wholesale that they grew. They have a 2 acre grant with over 3 million oysters on it now, and their father passed away in 2018, and that's when they hired me to become their salesman and their delivery. They wanted to change from wholesale, which the big dealers come and pick it up at Wellfleet. You've probably seen the trucks; everybody has come down, and but with the farm direct, it's a better price. And because we're delivering them, I'm putting them right into the restaurants' coolers for them, and so it's a better price. And where I'm trying to close in on 1 million oysters is my goal. I did. I'm going to be around 700,000 this year. So, but it's just a lot of fun. The fishermen are so amazing. They're hard workers. I respect them a lot. I did work on the grant for a little while, but uh, I have several people that I buy from the grant. But then I have several fishermen that do what's called wild picking, and literally just pick them up off the ground, because Wellfleet, as you know, is renowned for their oysters, and they're all over. As a matter of fact, the Shellfish Warden is putting out on their newsletter about this concert, because I work with her a lot too. And so I think that will spread the word a lot, which is great. And I know fishermen are becoming. I don't know. I guess that's. Oh, I have one fisherman. Actually, she's a woman. She brings me almost 10,000 oysters a month, handpicked in the summertime. So that's how amazing they are.
That is incredible. Is there any song that speaks to the oyster community, do you think? Is there any
I,
anthem?
I don't think we have one in our repertoire. Maybe David knows.
Well, I think we do sing a version of Patty Page's Old Cape Cod,
Oh, that's
and
yeah.
there's reference to lobster stew, but there is no other reference to shellfish.
Uh-oh, sounds like a new version needs to be pinned. What songs are you going to be singing? Tell us a little bit about your performance happening today, December 11th at Wellfleet Preservation Hall. The show starts at 6 p.m. and the doors open at 5 p.m. Folks can get advance tickets or wait until doors open.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Wayne, as our business manager, I bet you can handle this one.
I'll try, but you cut in if I make any mistakes. But I'm going to have to go with my memory. One thing about I think almost all barbershops that we sing from memory. We memorize everything. So this will be an hour concert from memory. Uh, we'll start out with some holiday music, just because that's the season we're in, and then we'll share some of our just traditional things like "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear," "Silent Night," "Jingle Bells." "Man with the Bag" is a favorite, I think. Then we're going to share some of our barbershop pieces, like Old Cape Cod, as David said, will be definitely on the program. I'm going to be singing in a quartet. Am I? I can't remember if I'm with you. No, I'm with Aaron, I think. Aaron, singing Tin Roof Blues. Or is that with you?
Nope. No, you're
Nope.
singing with Aaron.
That's right. Anyway, so that's a pretty fun one about a bar, about not a bar, but a nightclub, I guess, more better, with jazz music in New Orleans. That's one of my personal favorites. But yeah, it's going to be. David maybe have more.
Well, I think we sing kind of an interesting mix of music. We do change it up for our Christmas season, but we have some standards that we do. We probably spend 3 years on a piece of music in the sense that we learn it and then we bring it into our show and then it rolls through our shows and then at some point we retire it. So we're constantly adding songs to our repertoire and we're working through them. One of the advantages that we have is that unlike many of the classical choruses where you pick up the music at the beginning of the season and you learn it and then sing several performances and then put the music away, we continue to sing those favorite songs. And many times our quartets can step out and sing one of our chorus repertoire songs as a quartet. And it changes up the show and it changes up the sound, but it gives people an opportunity to really polish their role within the songs, which is what makes it fun.
And it sounds like a great selection of music and something for everybody and really fun for the holidays. I look forward to hearing you all sing and perform tonight. Tickets are available at wellfleetpreservationhall.org. Thanks so much, David Anthony and Wayne Schuman, for joining us today talking about the Cape Cod Surftones.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you very much.
When people look and see what love has done to me, will they agree I'll always be crazy, crazy for feeling so lonely, so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue, so blue. I knew you'd love me as long as you wanted, and then someday you leave me for somebody new, someone new. Worry, worry, why do I let myself worry? Why worry? Wondering, wondering, what in the world did I do?
actor Neil McGarry, who'll be performing Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol on Thursday, December 18th at 7 p.m. at Wellfleet Preservation Hall. Tickets are available at wellfleetpreservationhall.org. Neil is a professional actor with over 30 years' experience. He received his training at the National Shakespeare Conservatory, and he is the founder and former artistic director of the Bay Colony Shakespeare Company. Welcome, Neil. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you're currently on a tour with A Christmas Carol. You have rave reviews for your show. Can you talk about what it is you love so much about A Christmas Carol?
I have loved A Christmas Carol since I was a little kid. And in returning to it year after year, it is returning to things that I have always loved. Of all of the work that I did and that I've done in my career, A Christmas Carol is the piece that my parents loved the most. They suffered through an awful lot of my early work, and this was the piece that I had played it in high school. And there was a certain point in my late 20s when my mother said, you know, would you do this? Do it as a reading. And then I did, and then it was when are you going to do Christmas Carol again? So the journey of a person who has been hurt enormously and is going to exact his revenge on society and finds his way to do differently with through great experience. You know, 4 ghosts come to him and show him what his life was, show him what his life could be, show him the things that are around him, and then show him his future where he doesn't have one. And he makes a choice. And there's something miraculous about that. And it also brings back the idea to me of what is truly miraculous. It's people's choices. And that's one of the many things that I love about A Christmas Carol. I love the language. It's so rich. It's a joy to speak. And there's a special communication and connection with an audience that comes to see the show. And they've been coming back year after year after year. Now, this is year 12. It's really fun, and it's fun to do. And it's a joyous evening through complexity. I don't know. It's like a miracle play. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is like a miracle that it's such a metaphysical and spiritual story.
Yeah.
I think it's really profound when someone really takes to heart the messages that they receive, even if it had been just a dream, to take that message seriously, to look within and take responsibility and to take the opportunity to start fresh. I think it's definitely harder than it seems, and it takes courage and it takes humility, and it's a story of really rising to the occasion, finding resources within that you didn't know you had, you know.
Right. And he's also in a place where, where he begins, he is busy saying, why? Leave me alone. This isn't any of your business. I don't have to care. And here is this opportunity. His dead partner comes back and says, you have a chance to escape my fate, and I procured it for you. And he's like, well, couldn't I? Why? I don't want to. And then the first ghost touches his heart, literally, bear but a touch of my hand there. And he touches his heart, and you shall be upheld in more than this. And it is the beginning of a series of journeys. He gets to look at where did he begin? and it's hard. He was neglected. He was hurt and alone, and there was only one person who loved him unconditionally. That was his sister. And so, what are the things that are put in place in his past where suddenly he fears the world too much, and it sets him off on a course of protectionism, really, of to secure through wealth, secure safety. The implication is that something has occurred that has turned him into this person who is greedy and avaricious. I think I know what Dickens is suggesting. The story itself doesn't need to explain; it just needs to do and to be. At my best, if I can get out of the way, get out of my own way, and let the story play, let the story speak, let Dickens do the work and be the vehicle for that work, then that's the thing that helps to move those that come to see the show.
And another really interesting component is the hope and the optimism and sort of the ability to not take it personally that everyone has in reaction to him. The guy who works for him, his late sister's son, people sort of approach him with a very healthy attitude, considering it starts off very toxic, right? Like,
Yeah, he's also crossed over to beyond just trying to protect himself. He is doing usury on a grand scale, and he is actively hurting many people. Old Scratch has got his own at last, and people don't. No one's going to care. It's very likely to be a cheap funeral, for upon my life I know of no one to go to it. And well, if they feed me, I'll go. He doesn't know the lens with which he's viewed. He doesn't really care until the magic that he's been touched by the Ghost of Christmas Past, which lingers throughout the adventure. He is shown truth after truth after truth after truth that he just hasn't. It has been years since he's paid attention to it. In the very beginning, he recognizes every gate and post and tree from when he was a little boy, and then we see the school that it's deserted, that no one comes to see him until his sister comes to essentially spring him from jail. Then we don't really know what happens to her, only that she's had a child. We know about Bob Cratchit, that because he makes just enough money, it's never enough, and he has a sick child that decent food would be enough to fix him. But here's this man who says, if they be like to die, they'd better do it and decrease the surplus population. He has to learn through the evening, through the events of first the first ghost of past, and then the ghost of the future, who shows him what possibilities there are, shows him what happens in the home of his employee, Bob Cratchit, that Bob Cratchit cares, and his wife is nearly crippled by the hurt that is inflicted on the family, just emotionally, and all of the different things that happen throughout the world in essence. And then he drops him into his nephew's house, who says, I feel sorry for him. He's an object of pity. But in that journey, after he leaves his nephew's house, he much they saw and far they went. And all the good that the Ghost of Christmas Present does. They're, by sick beds, and they're cheerful on foreign lands, and they're close at home, by struggling men, and they're patient, their greater hope. It's all of the worst places of humanity. And here is this figure of the divine, in a way, that is busy saying, no, here, this is how we can make the world a better place. This is how we fix it. and this is your job to do. This is, how do we as individuals, Dickens is kind of offering us this. Here's our way of making things better. And then he's shown most profound thing of, of starvation on a grand scale, ignorance and want. And, have they no refuge or resource? And the ghost says, are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses? To echo his own words. And then he's shown, okay, you want the future? Here's the future. And you don't exist in it. And not only do you not exist in it, but they've plundered your body. And there isn't anyone that would sit by your bedside to say that you were kind to me. And for the memory of one kind word, I'll be kind to you. And he has this epiphany, and he makes a choice. And it is a profound thing to give voice to those words. You asked it, what do I love about that? And one of the great things is being able to say it, to say those words out loud, to tell that story. It started out years and years ago, or 12 years ago. My kids were saying, Daddy, tell me a story. And my director and I, Ross McDonald, when we were building it in my kitchen in Marshfield at the time, it came from that place of, okay, if we're doing this for kids, it needs to be simple and full and honest and given, and we need to listen as performers. It gave the company a style, but man, it is a profound thing to be able to do it and to speak those words.
Going back to the spiritual, metaphysical theme that's in A Christmas Carol, it resonates with people. It really resonates across time. There's been so many film versions, play versions. At Christmas time, it's really nice to get that sustenance of a spiritual story.
I agree. My parents, this was not a gig that they were wanting for their son. Oh, gee, we can feel really good about our son wanting to be an actor. No, you're thinking of your child potentially starving, and they worried. I was one of 10 kids. My parents worried. They knew the harshness of life, and they worried for their children. They came to see the first performance, and afterwards, my mother said, if you decide to do this, you'll be okay. And that was huge, a huge thing. And my parents have been gone a while now, 2009 or 2010. And they loved this, and they loved me doing this. They didn't like Dickens much, and they hated Shakespeare, but they loved A Christmas Carol. And they loved encountering it with and maybe through me. And they're not far away in the work. It's not like I'm standing out there and my parents are with me, but they're certainly there, and their voices and their thoughts and their beliefs and their hopes. They loved Christmas. I grew up in a very Catholic family, and my parents were devout. And they believed that you needed to leave the world a better place than you found it. They set about trying to do that themselves. This piece was something that, through the crisis of the character, what he's being shown is the possibilities and what, making the world a better place, what it does, and all the hope that goes with that.
Thanks so much, actor Neil McGarry, for joining us today talking about Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, happening at Wellfleet Preservation Hall on December 18th. Doors open at 6:30. Show is at 7. Folks can get tickets at wellfleetpreservationhall.org.